Hi guys, very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the video number 434 and my name is Ajay Parmar. I welcome all of you on this channel and we are going to talk about today how to create the dynamic combo boxes in the Access user form. I just uploaded a video on how to create the combo box, how to display the items in the combo box in the Access user form using the table values, and but this video is further an addition to that because this is a more dynamic thing. This is a more I would say the advanced video, because here we are not just going to create the combo box, but we are going to make dynamic combo boxes. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to create two combo boxes, and with one combo box we are going to connect the another combo box, so that whenever you do any changes in your first combo box, the second change happens automatically in the another combo box. Well, that's my channel name, youtube.com/c/Ajay Kumar Parmar, and you can see all these 434 videos. Go to on the playlist link on the front page of the channel and you will find here videos on Excel, VBA, MS Access and Access VBA, right? And if you have a difficulty in learning, if you are a beginner, you want to start step by step, then these are all the playlists which I have created for the Excel VBA. These are the playlists for the Excel, these are the playlists for the Access front end, these are the playlists, and for the Access VBA these are the the playlist. So Access, on the Access we are going to work a lot because we have not really got so many videos as comparatively to if you compare it with the Excel VBA and Excel. So comparatively, yes, we have a lesser number of videos, but I'm sure as a beginner they will help you a lot. And of course I'm going to talk about the Access in the coming month a lot. So you will find a lot of videos on the Access as well. So now what I want to do is I want to take you to the database, and this is what we are going to do today. Let me first of all clear the picture what I'm saying, because maybe if you are just a beginner you may not be understanding what I'm saying. So guys, this is my first table, let's say imported DB, which is the name of the table, and the another one is imported slash DB1. Now you know that whenever we work in the Access, most of the time we give the we make the forms, and from the forms we give the edit rights to the users, or maybe the read-only rights to the user, and we don't really allow our users to touch the tables, because if they do any changes in the table, the database, the integrity part of the database can be in danger, right? Because for the Access, it's all about the database. In fact, for any tool, even if it is Excel, you're making pivot charts, as long as your data is correct, no worries. But if you have a wrong data, if your data is manipulated, then the reports will be published accordingly. So you will have a wrong report. So we don't generally allow the tables to be touched by any of our users, because there is another thing that in the Access, if you do any changes, that cannot be undo, especially in the tables. For example, if somebody is going to just remove this employee ID from here, or maybe if let's say by mistake he presses his 1, then what will happen once he clicks outside that pencil marks, you see that the edit mode is gone, then you can't really undo it. Control Z is not going to work. So we actually keep our users away from the tables. Instead of that, we connect the forms, we make the forms, and we tell our users that whatever you want to do, please do it using the forms. And then in the background you connect your forms with the Access tables, maybe using the front end queries or the macros, or maybe the Access VBA, which is a programming, right? So this video is not actually about the Access VBA. Now what I want to do is I want to create two combo boxes. In the one combo box, I want to display the employee ID, right, which the employee ID would come from here, and this is the another thing. So you can imagine, so let's say if I just delete that, so suppose we have only the employee IDs here. That's what I have, right? But against these employee IDs, there are another, the first name and the last name available, but that is in the another table. So we have two separate tables. Now what I want is I want to create first a combo box which should display all these numbers, and this I already demonstrated in my previous video. Go and check that. So in this video, I'm just going to be a little quick on the first part. So I just go in the form design, and in the form design you just click on this this combo box which is under the design ribbon. So you just drag this, and this is what you get to see, and click on the next. Make sure you should have this. I want the combo box to get the values from another table. We are not going to use this. I will type in the values that I want, because this is something I don't need it. In case if you want to use it, you can see my previous video on that. I talked about this portion there. So now I choose my table, which is my imported table, and next I simply go in the next, and what I want to select, just click here, and this comes here employee ID, just a one field. And you want to sort the employee ID. Yes, I want to sort the, let's say, say ascending order, I want to sort it. If you click here, now this becomes the descending order. So so whatever actually basically you have the employee ID based on this button, you can click here and you can choose whether it has to be ascending or descending. So I click on the next, and that's it. I click on the next and finish. I don't like to change the name of the label, so I just keep it the employee ID simple. Now I go to the view and I click on the view, and guys, you see that this is what we have got here. Now what I want is the next combo box which I'm going to create. If I select the 2200, then what should happen, it should actually pick up the 2200 from here. Well, it's not here, that's a different thing. But maybe if I let's say pick up the 220, so if I pick up the 220 from here, let's say this, then the next combo box should display the name of that person, including the first name and the last name, Ajay Parmar, right? This is what actually we are going to do here in this video. Now since we need these first name and the L name, the last name together, so I want to actually, before I make the combo box, I want to create a query, guys, right? So I go to the query, and in this query design, I choose the query design, and then what we are going to do, we are going to use the table which is imported D1. I add this table here, and now what I want is I just want to use let's say any header. You can say new name, so you write here new name and then colon, and so I can increase the width of this field. So what you need to do is you just need to join them. So first name, and I'm going to join this with the space and then the last name, and when you press enter, you get to see the square bracket around these fields, right? So Access inserts the square brackets automatically. You can also do that, that's okay. Now what we need is, basis the employee ID, what the user is going to choose in my form, we going to pull out these new name and the last name. So what I will do is I go back to the form, and in the form I go to the design view, and I need to remember the name of this control, the combo box, and the name of this combo box is combo 0. I just rename this as CMB employee ID, right? It's not mandatory, but it's always a good habit to give them the good naming conventions, so that you can refer them in the VBA coding as well. You should be able to, you don't have to remember the names of the combo boxes then. So this is CMB employee ID. That's done. Come back to the query. Now how are you going to link that? So the point is, whenever I select anything in this employee ID, I want that this query should run basis that employee ID and should give me the new name and the first name of that, right? So what you need to do is, in this employee ID of this query, you write here form sign of exclamation, and then select the form. My form is actually form 1, and then again sign of exclamation, and you get to see here all the controls. You remember we given the name CMB employee ID, so you just click here, and now what will happen, I'm going to click on the form 1, and you see that it is 220. So if I just run this query right now, I should be able to see the name of the this 220 employee ID, which is Ajay Parmar. And if you go back to the table just to verify, you see that it's absolutely correct. So it's coming as Ajay Parmar, which is correct. If I just go back to the form and I just change this, maybe let's say to 333. So if you go to the query and you just refresh the query, this is what you get to see, which is Yogesh Singla. So the query actually is working, and this is what exactly we need, guys. Okay, so the query is all set. Now I'm just going to close this. So right now I'm not going to rename this. Let me keep this as query 1, but you can give it some good name as well, right? I just keep it as query 1, that's okay. Now I go back to the design view of my form again, and because I need another combo box where I can use these query values, so I click on the query and I just drag this combo box here. Okay, now this time what I need, this time I click on the next and I need the query, so I click on the query, and if you remember the query name, that was query 1, which is a very bad name. I strictly will not encourage you to use these kind of names. Always give the good name. For example, you can see my other queries, like this is a if condition query, this is include specific criteria, so that sort of name you should give. But just for the demonstration purpose, I'm not actually going in all that stuff, right? So I just use this, the by default naming convention, which was query 1. So I just click on the next, select the query 1, and what you need now, I just need the new name. I don't need the employee ID at all, because the employee ID would come from the another combo box, right? So I click on the next, and would you like to actually create them in the ascending order? That's one, that's fine. I can keep that in the ascending order. Next, and now what you need, well, this is showing name error, because right now you're in the design view, so that's fine. I just click on the next, and I just click on the finish. Now make sure that if you want to give it a good name, I mean, you can write here CMB, some sort of another thing, maybe name, right? But in this video it's not required. So what now I want to do is I want to show you what exactly is going to happen. So when you click on the view, now you see that you see here 333, and I click here and you see here Yogesh Singla. So is it correct? If I go back to this 333, it's showing the correct name. This is exactly what I actually wanted it, right? Because you have this 333 ID, this Yogesh Singla. And remember guys, this 333 basically is coming from here. It's not coming from here, right? But both these tables we have linked. The combo box 1 is linked with this table, and the combo box 2 is linked basically with the query, which is actually fetching the records from this imported DB1 basis the value of the employee ID, what the user is going to put it in the user form. But this employee ID, they are all coming from this imported DB. So if you're just going to change any do any changes here, for example, if I just change this 2200 to let's say 200, and I just go back to the form and I just click on the refresh, you see that you should be able to see here that employee IDs, right? So 2200 employee ID is gone, right? So now these tables are linked with each other only because of the reason that basically you have the one thing common in these in both the tables. For example, in this particular table I have here the employee ID, which is coming from the first table in the form, and this is my second table. Now the point is that what if you don't have the employee ID here, right? If I simply delete this employee ID from here, then how actually your form is going to know that which value actually represents which actually first name and the last name? Now the point you must be wondering here is that then what is the use of this actually employee ID? Because if you look at the query, if I just show you the query, in the query we are not actually using this imported DB, right? If I go to the design view, it simply uses the imported DB1 table, and because we have the employee ID here, so that's the employee ID we are actually getting from that the form value. So what is the use of this imported DB? So guys, as of now there's no use, but you never know, because in the imported DB1 you may have the different for the same employee ID you may have different names from the different same name from the different departments, right? For example, if I just go here and I insert one more field, let me just clear this. So I double click here and I say department. Let's say this is a department, right? This is a department. Now so I just insert one field here and I say that this is a department, and this is the department of, let's say, zoology, okay, and this is the department of, let's say, biology, and this is the department of, let's say, maybe physics, okay. So I write here physics, and then this is for the maybe chemistry, and then again this is for the, let's say, zoology, and this is for maths, for example. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to put it, I just go and paste this value again here. So the same employee ID, but yes, it's a different department now. So let's say you have the different department of, let's say, maths, right? And the name of the person is also, let's say, David, okay. So this is the name, and again I'm just going to repeat a couple of more informations here. So I just copy this 400 employee ID and I just paste it here as let's say we're gonna write here Jason Geller, and then you just go and okay, so this is actually the last name, so I'm just going to use the last name, and here I, let's say, write the biology, okay, and I copy this as well. Let's say this is another employee ID, and because employee IDs from the different departments can be same, right? And so here I write, let's say, another name, Venkat, and the last name is Prasad, and then this person actually is from, let's say, maths, okay. Now you see that you have the multiple items, so basically this is a one-to-many relationship. Now in the first table you don't have the repetition, okay, so you don't have the repetition, so that's how you, in your form, you will never find here any employee ID going to be repeated, because if I go and link this employee ID with this imported DB1, because from here also I can get the employee ID, but the point is this we generally don't touch it, because this keeps on repeating, and you will find here the employee IDs again and again. So basically we like to keep these unique values in one table, and then this is a one-to-many relationship, sort of that. So here we have the employee ID once, and that employee ID can be repeated here again and again from the different departments, right? So that's basically how the things are going to work now for us. Now if I just go and look at this query. Now in this query, if I'm just going to if let's say I enter here any employee ID, maybe let me see that which employee ID is repeated. So let's say we have employee ID called 400, right? So I select here 400. Now when you select here 400, then if you see that the query, if you're going to run the query, this is how you get to see all these things, two names, right? So when you click here, this is what you get to see. So you have both the names coming, Andy, and you have the Jason Geller, right? So in this way, I'm actually going to connect my employee ID with this with this database. So the first table which I'm using in my this form 1, I'm just using it for the purpose of that the unique value should come, the value should not be repeated. And because these employee IDs are available in this table as well, which keeps on repeating, so I'm just going to pull out the information from there in the form of new name. So I go back to the design view and I just uncheck this, because you don't need that, you just need the names, right? So when you click here, that's what you get to see. If you need the department, that's a good thing. I think you can do that. So in order to do that, you have to actually go back to this, and you just need to show table and import the table again. So there we go, I imported the table. Now you get to see here the department, because we did the changes after the department. So I'm just going to use the department here, and of course with the on the basis of the employee ID, whatever the user is going to choose there, right? So I write here forms, and just a second, so you write here forms, sign of exclamation, and the form name is form 1, and you write a sign of exclamation, and then I'm going to use the employee ID, right? Perfect. Now when I run this, this is how it looks like. I don't need the employee ID, guys, so I just uncheck that, and this is what I need now, right? So this is what I need: Andy BI chemistry, Jason Geller. Now you know that in the combo box you have just one control, right? So how to show that, how to show the other things as well? So what we can do is we can simply go and we can further here we can further go and combine this. So I can just go here and I can write here hyphen, and I can join it with the department. That's how it is, and I can uncheck that. I mean, you don't need that, you can simply delete that. If you click on the view, that's what it looks like, guys. Look at this, isn't it great? So we have the option. So now I go to the form and I just refresh it, and I get to see here, look at this, this is how it is, the department and the names are coming. You go to the design view, and let's increase the width of this, because now it's actually little lengthy. So I just, oh, maybe I can keep the employee ID as it is. Okay, now I go and I, let's say, choose 888, and when I click here, I see that Sharon, and when I click on the 300, I click here, and you see that it's not changing. What's wrong with that? Maybe 300 is not available. So if I just select the 1000, I click here, it's not coming. So we have to see, we have to ensure. So 1000 actually is not coming here, obviously, because we haven't written the 1000 information here. So what we can do is, maybe I can select let's say 333. So 333 I'm going to select from here, and I click here, and you see that it's still not changing. What's wrong with this? Because 333 actually is, we have here Yogesh from the physics and Venkat from the maths department. So what's wrong with this? So basically I'll tell you, this is a very common, the error which many users faces. Now when I'm going to hit on this query, when I run this query, the query runs. It shows Yogesh Singla from the physics and Venkat Prasad from the math. So what's wrong with the form? Now if you just click here and you just refresh it, and then you click back, you see that you're actually able to see this. So basically after refreshing and after running the query, you have your values. Now the point is how to make sure that the query should automatically run, or I would say refreshed, because every time the user is not going to open the query, and he's going to run the query and then come back to the form. So guys, what we can do is you go back to your form design view, and you just click on this, this control, which is a combo box employee ID. Right now it is already selected, and then go to the event, and in the event on click, just click on this, and you can write here macro builder. macro builder means that we would like to go and run the macro builder. You should select the show all action and you write here requery. This is what we are going to write, a macro. What do you want to requery, right? So I want to requery the control, which, you know, the control name is, if you remember the control name, that's very good. If you don't remember it, you have to go back to your the form. So I think I didn't remember that, so let me just click on the no. So this is the control which I want to requery. This is a combo 2. So ideally I should have given it a good name, because that's why, you know, I forgot. So CMB, if I just name this as CMB name, I just copy this and I select this control back and I go to the event, and now click on the click. What I want to do is I want to run the macro which is going to requery my this CMB name. So I write here requery. If you don't see the requery, then please make sure you should click on the show all action. Right now I can see that's okay. Now which control you want to requery? I want to requery the CMB name. Okay, so this CMB name actually I want to requery. So now when you close this, let me close this, and that's it. Now guys, if you look at this, basically the name is coming from where? I mean, how you're actually making sure that the query which you are running, that should come into, you know, into this the particular the record, right? So if you look at this, your the box, this combo box, if you go to this data in the row source, you get to see here this query, and this is the same query which we created when we inserted the combo box in the beginning, if you remember. If I just click here, this is the query, you see that this is the query, the new name is coming here, okay, and the new name is coming, you know how it is coming, right, from that query. So now when I click on the view and I hit on this, you can see that it's already showing me the correct values. So if I just go and change this to 899, you see that the name is changing now. So whenever the change happens, this query is going to requery. Now in the 200 you don't have any employee ID, okay, so you don't see anything here, right? So if I just click on the 888, I get to see here Sharon, which is correct, right? Because in the 888 we have this Sharon Zoology. So this is how you can design your form, right? Now if I select any employee ID, for example, if I select, let's say 1000, you know that the 1000 is not here, right? So if the 1000 is not there, the previous value doesn't go off. This is this can be a concern, though the query works because it shows now blank, but the previous value is, you know, from the previous employee ID, we are still getting the Sharon, which can be a concern. So how you can make sure that this should immediately remove when you do the changes here? So we have just seen a very interesting situation. I'm gonna tell you how to get rid of it. You should be you know, doing a little bit of programming. Don't worry if you don't know the programming, it's very simple. We're just going to add 2 or 3 lines here. Go to the design view and click here and remove this macro which we created, which were actually, you know, we were requerying the query one, right? But this time we actually want that we should go in the VBA window. So I click here again. Instead of going to the macro builder, you click on the code builder, okay? And now once you're gonna do that, another thing which I want to tell you is that because what you want, actually you want to run this macro whenever actually you change any value in this, you know, the combo box. So instead of that, what we will do, I delete the, you know, that macro from here, and I will go in the on change. In the on change, I go and now I'm going to use that code builder. I click on the OK. Now this is what you get to see here. CMB employee ID is the name of my control which I given, if you remember, in the properties. So guys, the first thing which I would do is me refers to the, by the way, the form. Okay, so you don't have to write form underscore form one. You can also write me is just a word which we use, right, to refer to our forms, right? So I'm going to simply write here CMB name has to be blank. Okay, the moment you have a change in the employee ID combo box, the first thing which should happen, that it should actually immediately delete everything from there. So this is the line, so that it should be blank, right? But the next time after deleting it, it should requery the thing. So you're gonna write here CMB name, you choose again the same control, and you just write here requery. Okay, requery. That's all guys, that's what we need. So this is going to requery the thing. Now what is requery? Requery means that from where we are actually getting the source of this name, that is going to be the requeried. So if you remember, when I created this, if I go to the data, you know that this is the query which we created, right? When I drag this combo box from this design view, when I drag this combo box from here, you remember we went to the next and we choose, we choose here the query, whatever the query one, right? So that's the same query that shows you here. This is the same query, so this is going to be requeried, and that's what we need, because if it is going to be requeried, guys, then automatically your query will be refreshed. Now let's go to the view and let's have a look. Now look at this, 1000 shows blank. Very nice. So look at this, it shows blank. This is what I needed, because 1000 is not here, it's not available here, right? Though it is available in the employee ID, but maybe in the another table we don't have its record. Now I'm gonna quickly select the 220. So if I go and select the 220 from here, let's see we got the value or not. I click here and there we go, guys, we got the Ajay Parmar from the zoology and David Becky from the maths. If I change this back to the 1000, look at this, beautiful. I wanted it to be blank and this is totally blank now, so we get rid of that issue. The previous value was staying there, right, and now it's not there. So I click on the 888 and there we go, we got this Sharon from the zoology, and that's absolutely what I needed it, right? So if you go back and select any other employee ID, maybe 400, the good thing is even if the value exists, it shows first blank until I click here. So I think these are just the two lines which can do wonders. So I go back and let me show you what I did is, so in the design view, this is where in the change event, go to the property of this sheet of the CMB employee ID and click on the event. So whenever the change happens, this is the code we are actually running. First it clears off everything from that combo box name, and then it requeries it. So when it requeries it, the row source actually gets requeried, which is actually available here in this, if you go to this data, this query actually is going to requery the same query which we used. This is the one actually, right? So you don't have to open it and refresh it again and again. So that's it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful session. I tried to explain a lot here, and if you still have any questions, you can leave your comments and I will answer that, right? Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, I know after watching this video you're going to subscribe to the channel to support me, and I will be back very soon with something, some another exciting stuff, as I always promise. Until then, you take care of yourself and have a fantastic learning. Bye bye.